This is The Listening Tube.
Hello. Thank you for putting your ear to The Listening Tube. I'm your host, Bob Woodley.
He's a nut job, but he's still sharp.
On this episode, we'll hear about the National Guard in Chicago and visitors from outer space. Plus, I'll speak with Johnny Tesone, a geologist who dug so deep he ended up in outer space. But first,
Not the headlines.
I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge some longtime fans of the program, like Glenn and Jeanette in Pennsylvania, as well as Dave in Alabama, and also say hello to some of the worldwide audience in places like Spring Hill, Tennessee, Melbourne, Victoria, Lagos, Jamestown, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York City. For some reason, Ashburn, Virginia has been opening their ears to the Listening Tube since very early on, and this is the final episode of the 12th season. It's been more than 160 episodes now, and I'm grateful for the opportunity and technology that makes it possible for me to reach the entire planet from my little studio and invite people in from all over the world. We've heard from a researcher in Saudi Arabia, a bail bondsman in Texas, an actor from Hollywood, and even a major in the Swiss Army. I've recited every word of Dr. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech and brought you the words of other patriots as well. Although I welcome your feedback, I don't get a lot. One that stands out to me was a man who said he agreed with 70% of what I say. I'm good with that. Some people call me a Republican, and although I am conservative in many ways, I'm liberal in others, and just off the top of my head, it feels like I've had more liberal guests on than conservative ones. You do the math. The Listening Tube is still growing. There's an audience for level-headed reasoning and common sense. Go figure. Feel free to spread the word about the Listening Tube. There may be more people out there who might enjoy it, even people who you wouldn't suspect. Maybe people just like you. When it comes to audio entertainment and information, podcasting is now second only to AM and FM radio in popularity. Podcasting is bigger than music streaming on platforms like Spotify and satellite radio. That's according to share of ear research by Edison, a leading tabulator of such things. But it's still very fragmented. About 200,000 new podcast episodes are released each week, each with worldwide reach. Most with the same limitations on promotionability. Some go viral, others last for a short period of time. The Listening Tube is less than 6 months from a 4th anniversary. I appreciate the time you've spent with me. I hope you'll spend a lot more and share it with your friends too. I started the Listening Tube to share with you what I saw happening to our national media. I still do that. While the subject matter changes and politics becomes more entrenched into our everyday lives, I'll strive to bring you insight and enlightenment about things that our regular media may be skimming over, or I'll try to bring a unique perspective of a story with which you might already be familiar. I hope you'll hang in there with me as we explore our world. I'm looking forward to Season 13, and I hope you are too.
Hey, if he says something smart, you can support the show from the homepage.
So, last week, the United States federal government couldn't pass a continuing resolution to fund the operation of itself. These things rarely have a dramatic effect on the everyday lives of ordinary Americans. The net result is many government workers get some time off for which they will be paid at a later date. Some have to keep working without a paycheck, but that too will be made up for. It does provide a degree of uncertainty when it comes to the economy, but we've been through it too many times to panic over it. The important thing is determining who's responsible for the interruption. As I say this, polls are being conducted to find out what the people feel. But the politicians aren't letting anything to chance. Odds are you already know how you feel about it, and you've already made up your mind about who's to blame. It's either the Republicans or the Democrats, right? But you know that all politics are local, so maybe there's some underlying reason the two sides can't or won't make an agreement on keeping their offices open for business. The CR has bipartisan support in the Senate, but just not quite enough. Turns out the Senate Minority Leader is resisting, along with most of the establishment Democrats. So the government ran out of money. But leaders on both sides are still blaming each other, and even refer to the shutdown with fancy names like the Schumer shutdown or the Trump government shutdown. It's all an effort to brand the debacle as the responsibility of the other side. Each side will highlight why it's the fault of those across the aisle. I have a solution that I think will lead to no option but to work together to end the stalemate. Call it the listening tube government shutdown. That's right, I'll take the blame for the whole damn thing if you'll just attach the name of my podcast to it. Feel free to plaster it all over. Put it on your news feeds. Mention the listening tube government shutdown as a distraction from some other issue. Call the listening tube government shutdown an existential threat to society. Go on and on about how we need to work together to get through this listening tube shutdown. Both sides can now team up against a third entity and solve the problem. I mean, the listening tube government shutdown. You see, if they can no longer blame each other, then that eliminates an obstacle to success, an obstacle to overcoming the listening tube government shutdown.
Let's go back through the listening tube for This Week in History.
This week in 1903, the High Court of Australia sat for the first time. And boy, were their legs tired. This week in 1969, in Chicago, the United States National Guard is called in for crowd control as demonstrations continue in connection with the trial of the Chicago 8 that began on September 24th. 20,000 people from all over the country traveled to Illinois to participate in the demonstrations. The late 1960s were even more turbulent than they are today. In 1968, the father of our current health secretary, Robert Kennedy Sr., and Martin Luther King Jr. had recently been assassinated, and now the Democratic National Convention was taking place in Chicago. When 8 individuals were arrested for inciting riots, and the trial began in September of 1969, even more demonstrations ensued. The trial was almost as sensational as the Scopes monkey trial, but was a violence case rather than an ideological one. Ultimately, 5 of the defendants were found guilty, and the National Guard did their jobs with no notable incidents. This week in 1989, the official news agency of the Soviet Union reports the landing of a UFO in Voronezh. The newspaper TASS was translated by the Associated Press and says the aliens made a short promenade about the park and left behind 2 pieces of unidentified rocks not found anywhere else on Earth. This was in 1989, just as the stability of the Soviet Union was waning considerably. A Time magazine story from 2014 quotes a Soviet source from 1989 who said, "They've been feeding us rubbish about the dream of communism for years, and we see now they were lying. At least this gives us something new to dream about." This week in 1992, a 13-kilogram or 28-pound fragment of a meteorite lands in the driveway of the Knapp residence in Peekskill, New York, destroying the family's 1980 Chevy Malibu. Clearly a hostile act by an extraterrestrial planet. I don't know what the Knapp family did to piss off another planet, but it cost them their 13-year-old Malibu. The rest of the planet escaped without incident. On a related matter, it wasn't until 1995 that we even knew there were planets around other stars. It was this week, in 1995, that 51 Pegasi is discovered to be the first major star, apart from our Sun, to have a planet orbiting around it. Since then, we've discovered 6,000 more. We can only see about 100 of them because they're so far away and the light of their stars often obliterates their view. But there are other ways of telling they're there. Let's all hope the Knapp family of New York is done with their shenanigans. Otherwise, we could be in for a barrage like we've never seen. Or have we?
The listening tube will return at the speed of sound. Send email to thelisteningtube@outlook.com.
My guest today says he's found evidence of much larger alien attacks than the one that took out an innocent Chevy. Johnny Tesone is a geologist who was led by microscopic evidence to search the rest of the universe for an origin story that's yet to be told. Johnny spent time with me in the listening tube from his home in Colorado. You are a geologist, author,
Yes.
and creator of GeoVortex. What is GeoVortex?
Hey, Bob, GeoVortex was really based on an episode that I had in the Wind River Range of Wyoming in 2020 during COVID. GeoVortex came out of an out-of-body experience on the Wind River up there that day in July when all my training of geology and all my years doing that kind of went upside down. It was when I saw some outcrops that I've never seen before in any textbook or any hiking trips or geology trips in school or what have you, or any literature from my professors. It became a transformational time, not only science and what I learned about the earth and what I saw, and then the ensuing trips that I made across the whole range when I started tying unknown fossils together and everything. That's painted the picture of the book called Secrets of the Winds. But GeoVortex was really a portal that I both found and had because I had all this content coming in from Google Earth and from my fossils that I found and my videos that I was post on YouTube. It just became this catch-all. It became just this brand, this self-branding of new information for humanity. The geovortex, it's like this, the elements, the atmosphere, my knowledge, being in the outdoors and being a huge fly fisherman and camper and outdoorsman, and just led me to taking more pictures and writing, and my story just kept building. And that's when that's what the geovortex became, was just this all-encompassing thing that just involved I've been going up to the Wind Rivers for over 30 years. So this was a day like no other geology trip, no other fishing trip, nothing else. And I continue to go up there. So it's just a place where time forgot. And it's a place that I found the ultimate freedom. And I think of known remembrance of maybe past ancestors that were Indians that lived up there thousands of years ago. I truly believe that. So when I go up there, I think I've actually collapsed the quantum wave of observation. Now I'm presenting, then now I'm the creator of recalling this and writing it. So it's a big concept. I know that, but it's something that I was able to process. But it's been just, so the geovortex was the opening portal. It was really the portal that I saw, that I was able to walk to and find all these incredible microscopic specimens. It was all right there for me. So it opened up a whole kaleidoscope of learning our Earth a lot better. It's just it set me on a storm that would have never expected in my career. I became open to finding these sort of things, Bob, when it's right there and when you can see it and touch it and feel it and hear it and be a part of it, and I was just really was lucky to go to the calls that I did to meet some friends to this day that are from that area that are actually part Indian. So
Well,
the stories are amazing.
what did you find, and what did it tell you?
Bob, what it told me, what I found was, first I had amazing premonitions about discovery during the winter of COVID. So before I even went up there, because this is a summer ritual being going up here. So as I started finding these outcrops, I started seeing, I call them the totem rocks. I saw figures, I saw fish, bears, Indians up on the sim, and I took pictures of it, showed my family it. They all had different ideas of what they saw, but it's geometry and images. It's just magnificent. So that was the first entree to this. I couldn't repeat it on Google Earth, but I started seeing things on Google Earth up in the same ledge of this big, huge outcrop. And I started seeing discs. I started seeing perfectly parallel, intricate, multicolored lines that were stacked. And I said, well, that's not normal sedimentology. That's not normal outcropping, right? So it started just gathering momentum, Bob. Then I started finding hand specimens, and I've found some fossils that no one has ever had. They're on the front page of my website. I've named a new species based on all the evidence from skeletons, from firsthand knowledge of what these things look like, to the physical evidence I have both in the fossil record and in bones and in teeth and in jaws and all that.
Are these
So
animals or another?
no, they're an extraterrestrial species that came with early Earth in what I've put together in my book. This is The Secrets of the Winds, Bob. So this is the 5-year culmination of what I've seen, what I've put together. So although I haven't got any DNA testing or anybody to bite on that, I'm just starting to get the word out, because now that I have the book put together, I got the YouTube videos out. I've named the species Exteran infinitas nimerigerus. I call it the Ein species. And I named it based on, it's been here, it's infinite. I think they live 50,000 years from what I've gathered from other data. They are born out of the rock. Okay, so this is a highly advanced species that is, Earth is they own the Earth. They are the Earth. So this is a subspecies. And why I called it Nimerigerus is because the Nimerigar is the name that the Indians up in Wyoming, where I found the specimens, is where all the lore is about, where all the ancient Indians, my friends' grandparents have actually seen these, and they call them Nimerigar, the little people. So the story of the little people, it's everywhere. It's in a lot of indigenous tribes. And there were skeletons from the 1950s that my professor from Wyoming, George Gill, examined at the University of Wyoming, was stumped by what he saw and what the x-rays told him. Well, Bob, as I started developing this, I started finding more bones in Colorado. I started putting it together, and I was able to come up with incredible replications of it based on a lot of the data and evidence that I had. So I started putting that together. Other things that I've found, not necessarily up there, but in my journey across mostly the western states, Utah, Wyoming, Colorado, were magnificent impact craters. Not only in Wyoming did I find them, I started finding them everywhere that I could walk to. So I started walking to these, and I started finding how the species was living. This one species was living inside the bigger rocket species that I found. So this is a complex system, and I have been in the right place at the right time. This is the perfect understanding of when you're open and you find things and observe things, you start collapsing, and then it started collapsing more and more because there's a story behind it and there's a purpose, right, Bob? So, and as a scientist, geologist, but as a person and as a curious person, it just became an incredible time for me over the last 5 years. I found new metals in the field that I've named, that I've tested. So I've tested a lot of these independently. I've reached out to some people, but I get the pushback and, oh, what are you talking about? And this and that. And so I came to the point where I can't spend time trying to convince one person what I have. I'm just going to put it all together and make it so compelling on how much I have that they're going to see that my evidence ties into James Webb Telescope on the last chapter. So my stuff starts with microscopic evidence, outcrops, to seeing the impacts that have bombarded our Earth from prehistory long ago. I've just come to a great place to be able to share this stuff with you and your audience now. I found some of the most beautiful crystals that are hundreds and thousands of feet long, part of the Mediterranean Sea, that no one's ever documented. Well, I named it. I found it. I named it. It's part of the journal. It's called Crystals of Infinity. It's the most beautiful colors. You can't count in one square. You can't count the colors. It's amazing. It's the most beautiful thing I think I've ever seen. But I'm here to share that because there's a beauty and a magnificence, but such a higher intelligence that we have no idea about.
Well, you're
And
you're
it's
obviously
staggering.
very passionate about it. I can tell that. Now, you're a geologist. So how
Mhm.
did you go from digging in the dirt to digging around in outer space?
Great question. I mean, that's how I went about that. Was first off, I think having the vision and having a feeling from 5 years ago, I knew there was an event. So as a geologist, geologists look for resources and cause and effect and why it is how it is on the surface and down below. It's a lot easier on the surface than it is down below when you're looking at drill holes all over the place and trying to correlate that. It's a lot easier when you actually can see the high resolution in Google Earth and you can actually have something that looks in your hand. That's exactly like it looks on Google Earth. So as a geologist, I became fascinated to know that these were bombs that were hitting. These were leaving impacts on the current surface of Wyoming, Colorado, and then I found it all over the earth. So what we can see recent is the most recent geology that is evident. Hence, the impacts. I live in Colorado, but I can go down the street and I can count dozens of these. They're pitted all over the place. So when I started studying it, Bob, there was just a natural connection. So being a geologist, being tuned to this, I just started seeing some unnatural things I knew weren't part of the sedimentology teachings that I ever had at Wyoming or any books or anything. It was such a contrast. I had to know that it was extraterrestrial. It was just obvious. That's the great thing that always kept me attached to this. And then I started just finding more things. There's so much more to learn that we're even touching on to. And as a geologist, I'm always curious. I'm always trying to find more things. But I had my first version of the book done last August, June-ish timeframe. However, James Webb Telescope started coming out. And I started seeing those pictures and I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Well,
And what I was
what does
seeing,
what does the James Webb Space Telescope bring you that the Hubble couldn't?
the Hubble did bring some fascinating things to me that I do have illustrated, but the James Webb Telescope gave us a deeper penetration and a higher resolution into the vastness of never ever horizons that are coming to us. What it's also brought is a better understanding that how dynamic our universe is, and there's no theories that have played out, right? So what I'm saying is, what do we want to imagine it to be? So what it's brought to me, and I'll cap this off, the James Webb Telescope, what it did. So as I was finishing my first edition, these pictures and these images started coming out. To your point, and I was already on the outer space trek. I was already thinking big and this and that. And am I from here, or am I? I started personally. I'm still going through that. What am I here for? But at this stage, the images started coming out. They started rolling out, and I was saving all of them, and they were beautiful. So I went scrolling back through my photos, and I started tying in my surface geology that I've seen that came from outer space, that's all over the world, but beautifully in Wyoming, where I went to school and where you can walk and study things and see fossils, huge fossils in the earth that I've documented. They look exactly like parts of the nebula and parts of the cosmos, and not one or two. Vastness of the cosmos that are exact designs that I'm showing people.
Now,
It's
now
incredible.
you say you've documented repeated invasion events.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What exactly is an invasion event?
What I mean by invasion event, that it's on purpose, okay? It's planned and it's pervasive. And an event, when I mean an event, is physical bombardments of objects that are crashing into our planet.
Okay, so
So
you're not talking about like live aliens then.
I'm not talking green aliens driving spaceships and crashing into Earth. I'm talking about the Earth aliens that came to Earth, that brought our oceans, that are of the Earth, that we are a part of. Okay, we are a part, an extension of this species, as is all life. As far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, and what I've seen, both inorganic and organic chemistry, material science, condensed matter physics, and how I've studied the earth and what I've seen. And I'm telling you, we have sorely underestimated the power of Yellowstone. So a part of my thesis and a part of my documentation is showing the magnificence and the size of that phenomena of Yellowstone. It's not just the park. It's not just isolated. And it was a part of the revelation I had to really understand the pipe and the bomb. And it's when I started watching Oppenheimer, it all came together. The super compaction I found in the Earth record. And Yellowstone was the smoking gun, literally the smoking gun to it all. That tied in the cosmos, where it came from, how it brought water, and why it's still so mechanically shooting off. It's because it is mechanically. It's why it's so regimented, and it's because it's a physical living system.
These invasion events, you say that they're still visible on our surface, which means they are recent, geographically recent.
The invasion events are the UFOs that are coming in and out of our spectrum, that are propulsing and burning and lighting. So the perfect compaction of billions of years of geology and rock and powder metallurgy and the super physics that happens when atoms and things are so tightly, that's the super compaction. And when that starts pulsing and vibrating to move and to shift and for motion, there's going to be things that ignite and change. And that's what we're seeing. So those photons are so intense. That's why we're seeing them. They're so intense. You cannot not see them, right? People swear by them. Of course, I see them. So the UFOs are a part of the invasion, but not necessarily bad. I'm just saying it's busy. It's a hub. It's a busy hub.
How long have they been coming?
Well, the first one I believe that I saw on Google Earth was day one, for 4.5 billion, 5 billion years ago.
Where are they? From where are they coming? And
They're
how do
coming
they
from
get
all
here?
over.
Okay. All right. Well, let me ask you this then, Johnny.
Yeah.
Considering the vastness of space and the redshift, which indicates that the universe is expanding,
Mhm.
something that is a million light years away today will be even farther away tomorrow. It, did we simply evolve too late for humans to explore planets outside of our solar system?
No, I don't think so whatsoever. I think we haven't even touched it, Bob. I think maybe there's some future beings that are coming down and helping us get over not the fantasy, but maybe the fear, because these aren't typical lifespans. And you hit on a really, really great point. Is I think our human DNA is underutilized, incredibly underutilized. And I say that because I think we do have extraterrestrial DNA, because we used to live for 800, 900 years or longer, they said, old humans and stuff. Well, where do those, it's like a catch 22. Do we want to live that long? And what if we could live that long, right? So there's these really both pragmatic but provocative things that go through me as a person to contemplate exactly what you said. So I think we're just getting started. I think AI is a tool. It's not going to dominate or rule us, but I think humans will have to change physically to live on this earth. It is getting hotter. I've seen it. And I say I've seen it because I see the surface patterns accelerate in development over the last 15 years. So it's not linear anymore. It's logarithmic. So I've seen the logarithmic change that I've noted and taken some videos and highlighted, because what I think this is such old technology and such it from a vast place. And I think there's multiverses, whatever you want to call it. No one's ever going to know the whole picture. And I'm trying to just scratch one side of it with part of my brain to scratch it off and to try to put it into something reasonable that can make sense to geologists, non-geologists, everyone. So your question's a great one. So I think that I do think that humans are here for a reason. We're not accident. We're part of the bigger picture, and there's a bigger message for humans to understand. I truly believe this, that this earth is our one shot, and we can't be so divided. And we have to know that humans need to communicate like this, Bob, and to have outwardly and provocative discussions about knowledge now and about the deeper sense of why we're humans, because a lot of people don't know they don't know. They just don't know anything.
Well, let me ask you now, if of course our ability to travel into space is very limited at this point.
Yes.
But you say we're being visited by beings from other places.
Yeah.
So are we just sitting ducks here with no means to defend ourselves or even escape an attack from another civilization if that were to happen?
Well, I think we've been under attack already. And I think humans have been under attack when they changed a lot of the history throughout the world, and they changed and took away some of the original texts and technologies from the mainstream people like you and I. So this is years ago. The invasion was, yes, the invasion was a program that only allowed us and kept us at a three-dimensional world, material, over consuming everything. The rat race, the matrix, whatever you want to call it. So I'm saying that there's been periods, a lot of periods in Earth, that I think we've gone through this, where over the last 400,000, 200,000, million, however many years you want to think humans have been around, which is debatable exactly, right? Exactly. I think there's been periods of birth and rebirth, but changing to get better. As humans have to evolve to live, there can't be there can't be a lot of the things we live with now if we want to sustain that. So I do think there's a bifurcation of a 3D bifurcation physically of the world. I've sensed it and seen it, and I've read about it. As a geologist, I like to see where the earthquakes and a lot of just big things are going on around the world, and map those and see that. But it's about the volume for me this year. It's about the volume. And it's about A1 Atlas, it's A13 Atlas. It's about all these things that are, people want to believe it or not, but it's like, well, if they're piping pictures of and giving us evidence and they're seeing it, James Webb, well, we got to take it to heart. But I don't think we need to be alarmed. I don't think we need to shutter the farm and batten down the hatches. I think it's an amazing time, Bob. Over the next 5 years, we're going to learn a lot about the bigger picture. I really do.
Now, by now, you must have seen the video of what was described as an unidentified flying object being struck with a ballistic missile, and that missile just appears to just bounce right off. Do you believe that video is credible?
Somewhat credible. I do, because
And why were we firing at it if we didn't know what it was?
why are we doing a lot of the things what are we doing? It's the fear factor, right? So we don't know what it is, so it's got to be bad. And honestly, the geologists are very elitist in the oil and gas business. Elitists, PhDs, right? They're masters, super smart. So they know everything. So when I try to tell them this, it was like, oh, they're like, what? What are you talking about? Right? So, but it's just bigger science. It's just huge, big picture stuff. It's not the microgeology, and I love them. It's not the micro seismic and the micro analysis and the petrophysics of the rock slices. It's the big picture. It's the slice of the earth and the time of the earth that I've unraveled, that I've seen the events, the repeated events. Earth is an incredible self-sustaining system for everything that lives on it, including us. There shouldn't be any division with such an intelligent species. So the fear for me is the people not knowing how to react when something is known to a lot of people. So you can call that an event, or you can call that differently, but like, there's people that have no idea what's going on. They have never heard of James Webb Telescope. So there's a whole huge population all around the world that don't even want to know anything. That's what I'm afraid of, is when they know something, I'm afraid for them. Is it's going to be too late to comprehend, like, what? Why didn't you tell me? Don't look up, right?
Don't look up. So Johnny, where do you plan on digging next?
Well, I don't have to dig. I know your metaphor. It's Galapagos Islands. It's Easter Islands. It's back to Argentina. Okay. It's probably Italy. I want to go to Turkey. I want to go to some foundational things. I want to go to Greece. I want to go to some foundational countries and places that I've already seen and documented that tie in the bigger picture around the world, especially the Galapagos, because of Yellowstone. So I've seen and mapped and proved that originally the Galapagos was the pipe entree. So I'm examining the whole layer I've called Exterrangia. Before Pangea, it's pre-Atlantis. It's the whole cool. Where I'm going are anywhere I can to keep writing, to keep exploring, to keep networking.
What do you hope people take from what you're presenting?
Great question. I want them to take away that they have curiosity and creativity probably beyond their own imagination. And if they want to use it, it's there for them. And if they want to tap into that, they're going to learn things about themselves that they may never learned before. I'm trying to help people understand we have so much inside of ourselves to use, to explore. That's natural. without the noise. And so get out in nature, walk barefoot on the ocean, right? Eat a lot of good high energy fruit, So I'm not trying to say this. I'm trying to tell people there's a different frequency we can all tap into that's going to make our lives a lot better. And I'm just starting to spread the word because I'm trying to be my own testimony, my own science experiment right here.
That website again is geovortex.net. The book is called Secrets of the Winds. Thank you to Johnny Tesone for spending some time with me in the Listening Tube. The Listening Tube is written and produced by yours truly. Copyright 2025. Thank you for putting your ear to the Listening Tube for 12 seasons. I'll be back with season 13 in a couple weeks. In the meantime, I'll get ready for winter in Pennsylvania and call some high school football games on the radio. I'm your host, Bob Woodley.
He's the worst thing to happen to old people.
For Thou ad infinitum.